Nat Nation, who lost her 11-year-old son, Roswin, as well as her, well, her brother-in-law, of course, Roswin's uncle. Phew, Bert, what does one say to that? I mean, you hear this mother say not much has changed. She refers to a recent incident we know that happened. In fact, it was 2 years ago at the FNB Stadium. The question then comes in, I mean, stadium management South Africa, you manage some of the big stadia in the country. I want to bring my 3-year-old son to football. And as you can see from what the mother said, yes, she does go to the stadium, but I'm scared. When will stadia become a family affair where I can bring my 2-year-old son or my daughter and enjoy a weekend away?
To be so, I really think, I'm not being insensitive, there has been changes. That I can assure you, since the implementation of the promulgation of the SASHO Act and its regulations, in the planning there's definitely been changes. And but you've asked the question now, and Putco responded to it. Our fans is part of the whole planning process of events, and they're a critical role player in this event. And we need to change behaviors in a certain sense as well. As long as people purchase fake tickets at the venue, there's a market at the venues. There's a market for that. And that's a problem. It's not officially sold now, but there's fake ticket sellers at the venues creating a lot of these issues. So as a collective, there's the clubs, there's the stadium management, there's the local authority, there's SABC, JMPD, but the fans are a stakeholder and a role player to this as well.
In fact, this part of the Ngwepe report actually does say that you know, criminal elements, you know, people buying fake tickets or paying off the, well, whether it's security to gain entry. I mean, in the package, Vincent just said about, well, we all know 60,000 or so tickets were printed out, because of course you print out extra just in case one tears for the booths. But how do 30,000 extra people go to a venue when there's a timeline, in fact, as well, that we're going to try and put up on screen, that from 7:10 already the sold out signs were up. No more people should be selling tickets or entering the stadium because those 52,000 tickets were sold. But then how does one still push in, Putco?
Yeah, well, one of the things that happened on that fateful night was we discovered that there were a lot of counterfeit tickets outside the stadium, which plugs into the security and safety risk we got into by allowing tickets to be sold on match day and to be sold in the precinct of the stadium. And so even those people who had tickets, you know, they felt that they needed to go in because they had tickets. Little did they know that there had been thousands of counterfeit tickets as well. And I think I agree with the fact that there's a lot of change that has happened. Yes, I do remember the one incident where at FNB, Chiefs were playing Pirates, and one supporter from Mpumalanga province celebrated the goal. And those days, the old FNB Stadium had a moat. And that guy celebrated the Kenny Mark goal, that the only goal of the game where Kaizer Chiefs beat Orlando Pirates in the semifinals of the BP Top 8. And he fell into the moat head first and died there sadly. And I remember going to Bronco Spruit to bury him, representing Kaizer Chiefs. It's the only incident after that, which also should not have happened. And as a matter of fact, the FNB Stadium, in the new designs of the 2010 FIFA World Cup, did away with the moat, because we discovered then that the moat also was dangerous to the fans' behavior and the excitement, particularly celebrating goals. There's been a number of lessons that came out of the ELLIS Park disaster, which helped South Africa to stage a very successful first African World Cup in 2010. Yeah. And some of the learnings from the ELLIS Park disaster: number one, all World Cup games were Category A games from a safety and security point of view, and which is also the Soweto Derby, that there never should be tickets sold on match day, that all games should be pre-sold, not a single game should have tickets sold at the stadium. And also critically, from a Soweto Derby point of view, that the Soweto Derby would never again be played on a Wednesday or any other night. That the Soweto Derby should only play at 3 p.m. or in the afternoon, so to say, and over the weekend to allow the thousands and thousands of the club's fans coming from all over South Africa to witness the game, and so that it's an incident-free game.
Yeah, Putco, unfortunately running out of time, but let me bring you in as well here. Putco's mentioning a lot of the changes and of course positive ones. I think 2010, one of the thoughts we'd have learned from 2010, I thought in fact one of the things that we would take from the World Cup was, if your ticket says seat B3, that's where I go and sit. But I think we might be a long way to go there. But overall, there are encouraging signs from listening to you two gentlemen. Maybe just in passing to our viewers, and our fans out there, because it is a headache for you.
Yes.
You plan these matches, well, not these matches, but you plan the venue on the weekend. And sometimes maybe, like I was saying earlier, we should also consider the fact that it takes a long time to put this together, and we should respect things like time.
Yeah, and you've mentioned now families coming to matches. That's a massive change we've experienced now with the non-capacity matches, family stands, family suites, and it's lovely to see. The issue is the capacity fixtures, as Putco refers to it, category A, the high-risk matches. And in that planning processes, we need to find a process where the fans arrive earlier. I don't know how we're going to achieve that, because in every press conference that's emphasized, in every press release, the fans are requested to do so. I understand that the working hours definitely play a role. Some people arriving late. I think the public transport unavailability of that also plays is a major factor that we need to consider going forward. And then I still think we need to treat this category A matches, the high-risk matches, with a different lens, and there should be a different planning as far as stewards is concerned. The perimeter should be a bit further away from the venue, that you create a bigger no man's land. And it's a spectacle to see and to experience. And unfortunately, like everything anywhere, let's get back to the UEFA final in France. Exactly the same problem that we refer to now. Counterfeit tickets, people without tickets lining up at the turnstiles and the gates, creating a massive issue.
Bertie Grobbelaar as well as Putco Mafani. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We could have another hour. Unfortunately, we've run out of time as we think back of what happened, and as far as Ellis Park is concerned, 22 years ago, in fact it was in 2001, where 43 people lost their lives, of course, the Ellis Park disaster. Let's quickly give you, I think, what stood out for me when I looked at this report. I'm going to ask my colleague to put up something of a timeline rather, on what happened in as far as that is concerned. I think Claire, there should come up now on screen. The Ellis Park disaster, as we look at the time, in 1910, there was already speak on the radio that there's messages coming through that, indicated that tickets were sold out, as I said, and by 1930, 2 gates were already overrun. By 1940, chaos had broken through. This is from the Ngwepe report. You can see all the way from 1935, a total chaos from all the gates, and by 2045, when the match was stopped, already there were bodies on the ground. Unfortunately, that is just as one of those things that happened as far as the week Ellis Park is concerned, and that's it from my guest, in fact, anyways.